What's up, everybody? TGIF. Got a busy weekend ahead of me. Right now, getting ready to feed the cats, and then I'll be loading up some supplies, heading over to my dad's house so I can use his wood shop. We'll be putting together a chicken brooder tonight. So we'll get that put together tonight. I'm planning on heading out early tomorrow morning, heading up to the Rural King, getting my chicks, bringing them home, and we're going to get this whole chicken thing started. So, hey guys. Stay tuned. Hungry, hungry hippos. Hungry, hungry hippos. Got the wood all loaded up. Gonna head on out. Go put this thing together. Alright, so I got over here to Dad's house. I got all the supplies together. So we have a 4x8 sheet of 3/4 inch plywood. We have two 1x4s that will make the lid for the top. Gonna need a T-square, a couple of 2x2s. You'll see what those are for in a little bit. Some screws in case you need to take it back apart. Hinges for the lid, hardware cloth for the lid, a handle. This piece of chipboard is gonna be for the bottom, and then tape measure, a circular saw, and a drill, and we're gonna get started. So we're gonna cut the plywood into 2-foot sections, so we'll have 4 2x4 pieces. We'll fit those together into a square, and that'll be the walls of the brooder. So we'll mark it off at 2 foot, use the T-square to get a good straight line, and then we're gonna rip down the first one, and then we'll just repeat it 3 more times, and we'll have our walls done. Alright, so I'm going to make my first mark right at 2 feet. Use the T-square. Make sure I'm nice and snug so I get a good straight line all the way across. Not a bad idea to hit the line a couple of times. Make sure you get yourself a good strong line going across, so when you're cutting it, you can see it. Always make sure you have ear and eye protection when you're using a circular saw. We got the wrong blade or something? So you tell my channel's real because we bring you the bloopers too. So had a finished blade in the saw when I needed a rip blade. So we're gonna swap these out real quick, and it will make life much, much easier. It's kind of counterintuitive because the threads are reversed. So I don't know if you've ever paid attention, but there is a hole in the saw blade for just this occasion. And you put something in there to block it, so then you can get the torque you need on it to cinch it back down. And now we should be ready to rock for real. we'll do that 3 more times and we'll have our sidewalls. Now we're going to cut these spindles down to a little bit less. We're going to do it about 23 inches. So they will act as blocks here on the end. This will get screwed to this board here, and then we'll be able to come with our other boards, and then we got something to butt up to screw into this way to hold our structure together. So I'm going to use the chop saw. I'm going to cut this first one down at 23 inches, and then I'll use the first one that I cut to mark off the other 3, and we should be ready to keep going. So there's that one. I'll just come here, match these up. Good there. Still good here. We'll do it 2 more times. So the next thing we're going to do, this is the nicer side of the plywood, so this is going to be the outside. So we're lining the spindles up, the spindle wood up. Going to mark here on the outside so we can see where it's going to go, and then we'll take a countersink. We'll drill our holes for our screws, so when this is on the inside, where it'll block up for the other pieces of wood, we'll have our holes already pre-drilled so we can just shoot the screws through and it'll snug up nice and tight. You might be thinking that we're going pretty overkill with this, using 3/4 inch plywood and all these spindles, putting it together with screws, but the thought kind of is that maybe I'll be using this again at some other point. If I ever decide to do rabbits, I could use it as a hutch. If I have an issue with one of the chickens, I can use it as a quarantine, or if something comes up with one of my cats, I could use it as a quarantine. So it's going to be not necessarily collapsible, but since we're using screws, we are going to be able to take it apart. So I will be able to, break it down flat, store it. And the thought is be able to have it for multi-use. And one of the nice things about using the countersink is that not only does it pre-drill your hole, but it'll recess the screw head down in there, and it'll make it look a lot nicer of a finish. So we're going to use these clamps to hold it in place. And then I'm going to use these screws to shoot through down into the 2x2. And you can see with the countersink there, it recesses in there and it looks real nice. Because just because we're building it out of stuff we have laying around doesn't mean it doesn't have to look good. We'll repeat that on the other side, do the same thing to another board, and then we'll screw the 2 side pieces on. So we got the side pieces done, so the next thing we're going to do is we made it up. We're going to mate up these corners here. Then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to mark here on this edge. So this will be the outside again. I'll come back through with the countersink. I'll shoot my holes again, and I know I need to stay a little bit closer to this line, not split the difference, because here will be the plywood. So when I shoot the holes, I need to make sure that I'm catching our block and not getting here into the plywood. So I'm going to kind of cheat it off towards the line a little bit. Do the same thing. Do 4 screws a piece, 5, 10, 15, and 20. Shoot my countersink holes, and we'll be in business. So we got the first 2 together. You can see we got a nice Good right angle here. The seam came together real nice. So we'll take the next piece. Match it up here on this side. I'll make sure the top one is nice and square. I'll get that in so it'll stand on its own. Tap the bottom into place. We'll shoot the rest of them in. No gaps, nice good corner. Everything went as planned. Our last one should match up perfect. I'll do the same thing. I'll start at the top here. Square up the bottom. That looks pretty good. Got a little gap here at the bottom, so I'm going to run this one back out, shoot it back in, see if I can't cinch it up some more. Much better. So now you can kind of see this is going to be the general shape of it. So we'll shoot these last 4 in, we'll build the top to it, and we'll be ready to pick up some chickens tomorrow. So now we're going to use this pneumatic stapler, shoot a bunch of staples into this piece of chipboard. This is the bottom, so we're going to shoot this in, get it secure, then we'll flip it back over, and we'll build the door for the top. Dad's hitting the edges with the sander, knocking all the loose pieces off the chipboard so we don't catch any splinters. Like I said, we're going to take the time to put this all together. We're going to make sure it's nice. So we went ahead and we put some feet on the bottom. We used pressure treated lumber on the bottom since this is what's going to be sitting on the ground. If it encounters any moisture or anything, it'll keep the chipboard up off the ground because that'll be real susceptible to soaking up water. So as you can see when I set it down, a nice gap underneath, so we're up off the ground, and I think being up off the ground that'll help maybe to keep it a little bit warmer with the air mass underneath instead of the cold ground underneath. So now we're going to start working on the 2 doors for the top that'll have the hardware cloth on them. So we're going to miter this into 4 because we have 2 boards, but we'll cut it twice into 2 4-foot sections with 45-degree miters on each end, and then we'll be able to piece these together. Then we'll cut some 2-foot pieces. We'll do the same thing with 45-degree miters, and we'll build 2 rectangles that will be stretching the hardware cloth across. Trying to get right to the corner so I don't waste any. Looks good. And we'll come down to 4 foot, pivot this direction. Mark. Right about there. Snug up to the rail. So this might make a little more sense now that you get to see it. Now that we have everything cut, it might be easier to tell when you see it than me explain it. So now I'm going to take some wood glue. I'm going to go along the top here, all the way across. Obviously, putting this glue down, this door is going to be fixed. So the other side will be the door that opens. Take my first piece of wood, line it up to the corners, nice and flush. We're going to take a finish nailer, and hold it in place. Good on that end, square it up on this end. Come down. And we'll do the same thing with these side pieces. These were the 2-foot pieces I was talking about. So these will fit in here. I'll come up with the glue. More inches. And we'll do the same thing with the nailer, repeat it on the other side, run our piece across the middle, and then we'll hinge it in the middle, and the other side will be the door that opens to give me access to get in for the food and the water. So this is going to be our hinge door. So I'm going to kind of do real similar. I'm going to glue these seams, I'll glue them together, then I'm going to use a stapler to staple it, to hold it together, then we'll stand it up on end and shoot some more nails into it. And it'll make a little more sense once you see it. Once I feel like I got my corners together, meeting up pretty good, the stapler. And that should hold it in place for me. Repeat it on this side. Corners together. Now I'm going to switch over to the nailer, and I'll nail it through the sides to hold it together tight. It's nice, the movie magic. You got a hidden hand helping me. Now repeat it on the other side. We'll put the hardware cloth on it. We'll slap some hinges on it, and we'll pretty much be done. Brooder Building is now officially a spectator sport. So now we've got both of the doors built. Like you saw earlier, this one is fixed. So this is our hinge door. We took these little wood blocks. Figured since this is the one that's going to have all the action to it, we use these little wood blocks to reinforce the corners, just to kind of stiffen it up a little bit. So now we're putting the hinges on. I pre-drilled a couple of holes so the screws don't split as we're putting them in for the hinges. So we'll throw this hinge on, throw the other hinge on, and then maybe put a handle on the side and load it up, and it'll be heading back to my house so we can pick up the chicks tomorrow.
So what's this for, Steven?
These are just going to be handles for picking it up, so I'll shoot screws in from both sides to make sure it's nice and sturdy. Because it is, it's heavy. It's not going to get up and walk away. That's for sure. We'll take you on a little quick tour now that we're all done. Put this little door lock on here. Like Dad kept joking, you know, I've got all those little cat burglars over at my house. And they will be curious about what's going on in here. So that's why we did a little bit smaller of a chicken wire. It's not quite a hardware cloth, but a little smaller of a chicken wire. So those little cat paws don't get stuck in there. Put these handles on the side. And then put this nice little handle on it for easy access for me. This will be a little chicken palace. They should have plenty of room to grow big and strong before they head out to the coop in the next couple of weeks. And it will give us time to build the coop over the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for more videos. So tell them what you just came up with, Mom.
The Pullet Palace.
The Pullet Palace. Yeah. Well, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you get all the notifications of all the new videos. Thanks.